Kollegah, Fler, Haftbefehl, Bushido, Olexesh, Capital Bra. What the hell are you on about? You're babbling, man, you're babbling. No, I'm not. They're all famous German rappers, and on this week's show, the Megacanners find out how to tell them all apart. It's totally Lila.
Kopf strapaziert, Blockjungs am Lauern, gucken was noch so passiert. Blau patrouilliert, wir geben einen Fick drauf. Elektrobike, Kickdown, Blockstyle.
Hello everybody, it's time for another episode of Megan's Megacan. I'm Megan, I'm here as always with Konrad Werner.
Hello.
And we're once again sharing a mic. But the reason we're sharing a mic is because very, very excitingly, we have another guest. And I'm very, very excited to have Maisie Hitchcock here. Hi, Maisie.
Hello, Megan.
Hello.
Hello, Conrad.
Hello.
I did that on purpose. The swinging mic.
Maisie, you may know her and her lovely voice from being one quarter of Radio Spätkauf, which is an excellent podcast that is recorded live, and it gives a really, really excellent and often very in-depth overview of Berlin news in English, because the news is hard enough without it being in German.
It is, yeah. We're there to help, really. That's what it's about.
Yes.
And can I just say, I'm going to do the arse kissing now. Just want to say it's a massive honour to be here, because I'm a huge fan of this podcast.
You are, because you're like the only person. You always, when I tweet something, you're, I think, maybe one of our first followers after us. And then you're always just like, straight in. And I'll get a little notification. I'm like, oh, Maisie's on Twitter. I don't even have to look at it. I know that it's you. So I'm very, very excited. And I'm also excited because you're going to talk about something that you are an expert in, and I literally have, even more so than usual, no idea about.
Yeah, German rap, but not just German rap, right? We're here mainly to talk about Bushido and his trial.
I think we should have some megacans.
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Okay,
Of course.
So, I have gone with just JD ones today, everybody.
Ooh.
Because I thought it would be nice just to go to some classics. These are usually people's like gateway megas. They're kind of delicious. I, of course, got them out of the fridge before I realised they're €1 more expensive than some of the other mega cans, and then I couldn't put them all back in and then take cheaper ones. That was too much. But yeah, so also I'm fairly sure it's a very nice spacey at the end of your road, but I just come in about this time every Friday and get like a load of megas, and then he doesn't see me again for a week. I think he must be a bit worried. He's always very nice.
But now he's seen you pick out the Dom Perignon of megas.
Yeah.
He'll
And then I was
more
staring
respect.
at the fridge, and he was like, were you looking for something else? You were staring. Anyway, would you like a Lynchburg lemonade? And I've got my hands all over them now, and one's in my crotch. Oh dear. A ginger or cola? They're classic.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I know one of you quite likes ginger, if I recall correctly.
This is
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lynchburg lemonade sounds a little bit Ku Klux Klan, but
It
maybe
is a bit, yes.
Maybe I'll have the other one.
The cola.
Yeah, if
Just
that's
the
okay.
normal classic-y. Good
normal
choice.
classic.
Good
Stick with
choice.
the
There you
boring
go.
one.
Conrad, my dear.
I'll have the ginger then.
Yeah,
You love
that's
ginger.
it. You love the ginger.
You've had it so many weeks. I almost got the other JD one was the berry one that's on offer, but as I recall, it is, well, gross. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it's like being in a pub in England. Except it's much stronger than what you'd get in a pub.
I know. My grandmother always used to say, because we obviously have different measures in Ireland than 25 mils. She's like, oh, there's these pubs in she's Canadian. She's like, in England, it just looks like they've spat in the bottom of your glass.
I didn't actually know that you actually have different measures in
Yeah,
Ireland.
we used to have 50, but now it's gone to 35 because we can't have nice things because we all became alcoholics, or even more so than usual.
Well, it's one
But
more
yes.
reason to move to Ireland, isn't it?
Well, it's just mainly a reason not to be in the mainland UK. Because in the north we have the same measure as well.
Do you?
Aye.
So it's one thing you have all over Ireland and Northern Ireland. You
Yes,
have the
there's
same
certain things
spirit
we're sort of
measures.
like weirdly unified on, and booze is one of them.
The important stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. What's happening? I literally don't know. I have no idea. Tell me everything.
Well, I really love this story anyway because it's kind of been going on for a while now. But
what is special that is happening now is that the trial is finally taking place against Arafat Abu Shaka. He's never been convicted of anything, despite being one of the most notorious crime bosses in Berlin. And yeah, he's like one of the what are called the Großfamilien. There's like 7 or 8 of them in Berlin. There's the Remys, who we'll mention later. Al-Zain family. And the thing what is funny about this is, well, first of all, Bill Hicks used to have a joke about, you know, if you're American and you hear about hooligans in England and you just think, oh, it just sounds rubbish. You know, he used to use this whole thing about like hooligans. It's such a stupid word. He says like, oh, we're the hooligans. don't corner us or we'll become ruffians. That was that, I think. Some hooligans knocked over a dustbin in Salisbury. And that was his joke. I mean, it's going to sound a little bit patronising, but as an English speaker, when you hear about German gangster rappers, it does have like that slight, how threatening are they?
That's a good point. It's a lot of all talk and not much else, I think.
And then you watch their videos and they're like in a Tankstelle, you know, outside of Späti. They're just sort of in the streets that you know anyway if you live here. But the media love it. Like the media, the Bild-Zeitung especially, they just love doing stories about what they call Clan-Kriminalität. Which has got a like slightly racist overtones, which they'd never use in the English-speaking media. But so Bushido is the main plaintiff against Arafat Abu Shaka, and one of the things he's mainly accusing him of is serfdom. That's how he described it. He was under contract. He handed over the rights to all his income and his wealth to Abu Shaka. And now he actually signed a Vollmacht. The Stern magazine found the Vollmacht. So he actually didn't have any control over his income while he was the biggest. And you forget as well, Bushido was, in the 2000, that decade, he was huge. He was as big as Eminem. They made a film about him, and he was a big deal. And also culturally, he was a big deal. It was the first time that someone, like a rapper, got into like the mainstream media in Germany, and he was on all the chat shows. Like he was like a really big deal. Now he's like obviously getting on a bit. He's in his 40s, and it has sort of been revealed. It was revealed late last year that he had to pay 30% of his income to Abu Shaka, to this crime boss, throughout his career, because Abu Shaka had helped him get out of a contract with his previous record label.
With Agro Berlin, yeah.
Yeah.
Record label.
It was called Agro Berlin. It doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. And it was basically, he was signed to it, I think, with Fler, another rapper.
Yes, which we've worked out that I pronounce Fler.
Which is great. I think the actual trial, what it seems to be, what it's focusing on is, the main focus is the accusation from Bushido, who was basically in this partnership, this Faustian partnership with Arafat Abu Shaka. And then in 2008, he started working with him, or he basically became his manager. Uh-huh. And the deal was, he signed away a lot to Arafat Abu Shaka, but what happened as part of this deal is that Abu Shaka ends up being what's called Bushido's Rücken. He's basically like looking out for him. And he's essentially his manager stroke gangster boss who will sort anyone out who gets in Bushido's way. And lots of people in the business have come out since like the trial was announced, or even before that, and basically saying, including people like Fler, who's got a beef with him anyway, saying Bushido basically, as soon as he got Abu Shaka on board, he was going around and making trouble for people, being threatening towards people.
Gosh.
Yeah, he was throwing his weight around, because essentially it was like Abu Shaka was the businessman and the heavy, and Bushido was the artist, and that was the kind of deal between them. That's how it worked. But what Bushido is now doing is portraying himself as a kind of victim in the whole thing. But in 2008, Abu Shaka basically helped Bushido get out of this record deal with Agro Berlin, probably bringing in the heavies. He then basically...
Is this actual life?
Yeah, there's loads of it. Because most gangster rappers here, like Bushido was one of the first German gangster rappers. He's not a gangster. Like, he grew up, I think, in West Berlin. He's got a German mother. And what we say, Tunisian dad, he's pretty middle class, you know. He's got no gangster credentials, but having a clan, a gross family what do we call him, gang boss, basically
Yeah.
looking out for your finances, getting your back, covering your back, gives you a lot of credibility. So
Yes.
it's like, and that's basically the modus operandi for many gangster rappers here. Is if you've got no
You go and
gangster
get
background,
yourself some like criminal.
get yourself the Miri clan. I mean, they'll get involved anyway. All these groups will get involved anyway because they want a slice of your income. But it's like it's an exchange. You get their credibility.
So people do this. This is like,
Yeah.
wow.
But what the trial really, like, I think one of the things that they're using as the basis for the trial is the fact that Bushido is in this deal, in this kind of Faustian situation, which he's really profiting from for years with Abu Shaka. And then in 2018, he's like, I want out. I don't like it. I'm not happy with it for whatever reason. And supposedly, allegedly, Abu Shaka locks him in a room at the record company that I think Bushido founded with him, Erst Gute Junge, and threatens him, throws a bottle of water at him, chucks a chair at him, and basically says, if you want to leave this partnership, you've got to pay me like a huge Abfindung. What's that? Compensation or whatever.
Yeah.
And Bushido's basically going, no. And that's the thing that he's saying happened. And from that point onwards, supposedly there was a lot of tension between them and there were threats and lots of things went on. But there's no actual evidence of that actually ever happening. I don't think any actual proof, as far as I know, that it actually happened.
According to Bushido's testimony this week, he paid Abu Shaka something like 9 million euros over the 10 years that they were partners. That's what, and the trial is seen as like a who's who, a rogues gallery, the entire German Deutsch rap scene, where I guess everyone who's ever had anything to do with these people are being asked to testify and work out who's right and who's wrong in this situation. And that scene where Shaka got him out of that record deal, that is dramatized in the movie Zeiten ändern dich, which I can heartily recommend. I mean, it's not a good movie, but it's Moritz. Do you know who plays Abu Shaka?
I think you just gave it away.
I just gave it. Moritz Bleibtreu.
Yeah.
He plays him, and basically they go into a little room, and Moritz Bleibtreu's got a leather jacket on, and there are these like good for nothings sitting around a table, all smoking dope or something, and Moritz Bleibtreu comes in. And he says, "Listen, kids, I'm going to go into the office, and when I come out, I want all of this to be gone." He indicating all the drugs and all this stuff. He says, "Clean this place up, yeah." He doesn't even work there. This is not even his place. And then he goes into the other room with a man with a sword. He brings with him a big fat heavy with a sword. And Bushido trots along behind him. And Moritz Bleibtreu says, "No, you wait outside. I'll deal with this." And then they're in there for a couple of minutes. And all the little good for nothings, naughty kids, the ruffians, they quickly clear up all the drugs and like put them in the pocket and like smarten themselves up. And then 2 minutes later, Moritz Bleibtreu comes out with his contract. He says, like, "Here you go, I've sorted it all out." And the boss of the other record label is like sitting in the corner looking chastened. Right. And then they leave, and that's how the pact. That's how it really happened. That's how it really happened.
Wow, yeah. Amazing that Bushido can recount it so like precisely as well. That he remembers it so clearly when he wasn't even necessarily there, or was he?
In the film,
he's there.
But he's outside with the good for nothing ruffians. I don't know how like sort of white and non-gangster rap we want to sound on here, but wowee. Right. So what is the trial? So I've forgotten the name of the second person, the one who's the defendant. Arafat Abu Shaka. Yeah. So he's then being accused of...
He's basically accused of it's almost like he's accused of everything under the sun, basically, like physically threatening Bushido, threatening his family, keeping in the contract against his will. I think it's a lot of different stuff, but basically the implication is with the whole thing is that Bushido went into this against his will. And there's so much to point to the contrary, given the fact that they were sharing. So basically what they did, once they kind of got involved with each other, Bushido's obviously doing really well. He's got Abu Shaka looking after his finances, and he ends up making tons and tons of money, and they end up making these multi-million, euro investments in property. They own something like 7 apartment blocks out in Rudersdorf. They've got a house. They actually lived on the same Grundstück. I mean, it can't have been that unless like Abu Shaka was like controlling Bushido the whole time, to live on the same Grundstück, I think living as neighbours in Kleinmachnow, like nice suburban posh Berlin.
In Kleinmachnow?
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense.
And so they have all
happening?
these shared investments. And I think what it boils down to is that Bushido wanted to leave the situation. Abu Shaka wasn't happy, wanted either payment, or he's saying we want to sort our finances out. And there are recordings. So supposedly after this whole situation where like Bushido's being threatened by Abu Shaka,
Yeah.
Months after this, there are some recordings of them having telephone conversations, or I don't know how the conversations people got hold of them, but there's these conversations of them. They're talking. There's no mention of the physical violence. They're just basically talking like almost like businessmen. It's like we've got to sort out our finances. We've got to sort out who gets what. It's not particularly friendly, but there's no like open aggression or hostility.
Publicly, he always called him his brother. They were like brothers.
Yeah.
They like Bushido always said like, this is my brother, and journalists did ask him about, you know, what is going on here? This is a criminal, and aren't you like isn't this a bit shady? And he would always like deny it in public. He was like no, I've got a manager like every other artist, and he looks out for me. In his 10-minute rap, Mephisto, which is retells this story, which was released 2 years ago, which is his musical. What do you call it? Abrechnung. What's an Abrechnung? His reckoning. His musical reckoning with this
Diss
mafia
track,
boss.
The famous diss track.
He talks about him being his false brother, and like he stabbed him in the back and all this other stuff.
But
like he felt betrayed.
I just think it's incredible that it's the fact that has the kind of gall to do it. You know, it's like what's the expression? The German expression: you sleep with dogs, you're going to get fleas. It's like he knew what he was entering into,
too, don't we?
You know, it's. I just think it's very hypocritical of Bushido.
Yeah, and what do you think? Like, what is he out to? What? Why?
I think he's worried about his finances because he's got a lot of money, and I think he's worried about the way it's going to get split and who's going to get what. And
so the financial settlement's not been reached, so he's going to try and.
And now Bushido lives under police protection.
Yeah.
And not only police protection, though. Who else is protecting him, Maisie?
He's got the Remo clan have come in to help him.
Bushido!
Yeah, sorry to use the term clan again. But the Remo gang have come in. And what's quite interesting is, like, because of this happening, so what's also important about this is it's the first time someone from one of these big families has basically been brought to a kind of trial situation. It's the first time, I think, in the history of all these things happening. And there's a big fear that all the people who've made statements or potentially will go quiet, because that happens very, very often, apparently. And that's why no one ever gets prosecuted, or very rarely, in relation to the families. Yeah.
And who is Capital Bra?
Right, so Capital Bra, he's kind of the biggest bra, as in like bratan, because he's basically originally from Siberia. He was born in Siberia and grew up in the Ukraine, and then moved to Hohenschönhausen as a little boy, I think. And he's Germany's biggest selling artist, outsold the Beatles, biggest selling artist of all time, although he's not actually German. I don't think he's got a German passport. And so like Go Cappy, as people call him. And
am I right in thinking he's sort of Bushido's like protege?
No, he's not Bushido's protege by any means. What he was, he basically made his name doing rap battles. Like he became successful on his own, doing these quite good rap battles, and made a name for himself. Then he was signed by a label called Team Cuckoo, and then he left. When he left Team Cuckoo, apparently he got some help leaving them from two families. Let's say
history repeats itself.
Yeah. And then he went entirely independent of that. He goes to Erst Gute Junge, which is Bushido's label. And then what happens is when Bushido goes to the police about Abu Shaka, this is like, you don't do this. It's like honour amongst thieves. You don't go to the cops about Großfamilien. You just don't. No. Yeah.
No.
Okay,
so sorry, who's gone to the cops about who?
So Bushido goes to the cops about Abu Shaka threatening him. And
Bushido,
at this
come
point,
on, son.
Cappy is signed to his label. Cappy, everyone calls him Cappy. Cappy's signed to Bushido's label, Escuta Junge, and he leaves the label in protest. And he's basically says, you're on like a team with the police now, and I'm not going to be part of that team. But what's really hilarious, the best part is, not long after this, basically, because he's saying, like, you know, you can't call the police, you can't have police involvement, you can't have police protection. That's not cool for a rapper. The next thing you know, Cappy's called the police because the Miri clan and I think the Alzine, family are the ones who they basically tried to extricate €500,000 out of Cappy because when he tried to get out of his original record contract, I'm sorry, it's very, very complicated. He apparently got them in to help him.
Right.
And they're going, where's our money? And so he freaks out. He goes to the police.
Oh, Jesus.
And loses a lot of credibility in the process.
Well, yeah.
But still sells massive, like, he's shifting units and streaming. He's still kind of untouchable, really. He's Teflon.
Okay, I must speak to the young people about this.
He's so famous that he... do you know, like, how in America, they you know, like, Kanye West brings out, what do you call it? Trainers or stuff. Clothes. I feel like a very old man now. Bloody
about 4 times older than you actually are. You're actually
and jewelry. You know, like they have merchandise. What they have like a cool merchandise, don't they?
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z and that. They have like it's like amazing stuff. And what has Capital Bra brought out?
He's brought out, amongst other things, which is quite standard for rappers nowadays in Germany, is shisha. I think tobacco as well, possibly.
Right.
And a lot of merch and basically pizzas.
He's brought out a frozen pizza.
And he's done really well.
Yeah, it's sold more frozen pizzas than any other frozen pizza in the history of German frozen pizzas.
Yeah, he's basically, I think Cappy's that
is
an amazing businessman or someone else who's managing
marketing,
him.
because if there's one thing that teenage boys love more than questionable rap music, it's smoking and pizza. That's genius.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
It's a very smart move. I can see it. It looks good. You actually brought one over.
I brought one for
We
you
were supposed
from my
to put it in
Tiefkühlfach, but we didn't put it in
very
the
exciting.
oven.
There he is.
The pizza is called Gangsterella.
It's the brand, yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I mean, he basically, I think what Cappy's good at is he's good at marketing himself. Like, he's amazing. Because my hairdresser, I always have massive discussions with my hairdresser about gangster rap. He's like a Kreuzberger Junge, and he's a bit older like me, and he remembers like the days of like good rap, like Cool Savage, Afro, Sammy Deluxe, all that sort of stuff, which I like, but I also like the gangster stuff just from a purely entertainment perspective.
Yes.
He always rant about how much he hates Capital Bra. He know it entertains me, and he's like, oh, he's really thick, it's all really reductive, his lyrics, he just goes on about Gucci and selling drugs, and it's all really simple. But I think Capital Bra is really smart, actually.
Yeah.
Because he's done what Nicki Minaj has done, which is basically selling all kinds of different types of music. He starts off as a gangster rapper, and then he goes, but I can make more money if I sell crappy pop songs that sample Cherry Cherry Baby.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to make ballady stuff with loads of auto-tune, and then I'm going to do also the gangster stuff. And then I'm going to like bombard people with social media posts. I'll use slogans all the time. He has these slogans.
Yes.
Like he says, whenever he appears on social media, he'll go, Bratans, Bratinas, Bratuchas, was geht ab? Like, hi, brothers or whatever in Russian. And he'll sing things like, Berlin wird rasiert. Can you translate that? Es wird rasiert. They say that a lot.
Shaved.
Berlin's shaved. But like, that's not how you translate it. Like,
raised to the ground.
Yeah, it's
Like
basically saying, he's saying in a much shorter way,
Right.
Berlin will be raised to the ground.
Okay.
But, you know, it's all this language that
They're
kids
like the
love.
allies in the war.
Like, they love that shit. And he's like this little man who's always smiling, probably takes quite a lot of coke, publicising himself constantly.
I'll tell you what other drug he likes. according to
Tilladine.
this. He likes Megacans. He's drinking the same drink as you are in this...
Is it cola as well?
It's a JD and Cola. He's drinking in the video for Für euch alle, featuring
the drink
Samurai.
of champions.
How are you enjoying your Megacan? Are you
It's really
drinking
nice.
enough of it?
Thank you. Yeah, I actually I'm really enjoying it. Enjoying it more
delicious.
than I should be.
Good. But he also in this video pours some of it out, I think, so he doesn't get too drunk. So we're all actually harder than Capital Bra, my friends. Despite the fact that we don't know what trainers are or any slang words. Right. What is there more? I don't even know where my questioning should go.
Well, I want to know from Maisie, what are your favourite German rappers?
Well, I like a lot of the stuff I like is not the sort of the cool stuff from the 90s when it was still a bit more kind of credible. I like the sort of stuff. So there's a few record labels. There's one out in Bonn called Alles oder Nix, and that's headed by a man called Khatar, and he's, I think, part Kurdish German. And what's really cool about him is he basically, it's not really cool, it's kind of novel, let's say, rather than saying it's cool.
It's novel. He's got something novel.
He's got a criminale Hintergrund, and he's got cred. Because he basically was involved in a heist.
Wow.
A heist on Megacan.
Yeah, he was involved in a gold heist, like a gold transport or whatever that means, something transporting gold.
No.
I
think good old-fashioned crimes. That's what I like.
And he dressed up. Him and his partners in crime, they dressed up as tax inspectors and policemen in order to basically get this gold. And they stole about 1.9 million euros worth. I think it was a million, maybe it was more than that. He then flees to Iraq or Iran, I can't remember, via Moscow. The secret police go after him, bring him back to Germany, and then he gets a 8-year sentence. And he does 4 years of it. And meanwhile, while he's in prison, he's managing his record label.
I admire that.
So I think
it's gold. It's not, killing kids with drones.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that.
I see that as more of an honest day's work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more honest day's work than a lot of people are doing.
It's more honest than like Bushido, like getting all the heavies to back him up. I feel like Khatar would be able to, like, if you want someone to like defend you in a fight, my money would be on Khatar, not Bushido.
He lives in Bonn.
Well, I don't know whether he lives there now, but the record label's out there, and there's various artists on it, and their records came out, like the good stuff came out, I'd say like 2015, 2016. There's a lot of really good, almost like West Coast style, G-funk type hip hop. And there's a guy called SSEO who does a lot of sort of quite comedy rap. It sounds awful, but it's brilliant. Khatar did an album with a man called Haftbefehl. Haftbefehl's another favourite of mine. They're from Offenbach, which is a different area. But they did a collab, which is amazing, called Coop, called The Holland Job.
The Compton of West Germany is Offenbach.
It is. It basically is.
Right.
Except it's not. Because as my hairdresser said today, there is literally almost nothing gangster about any of these people. It's like they would so gerne like to be, Eazy-E and all those people, but they're not.
But the problem is proper gangsters can't rap.
Well, that's exactly what he said. Yeah. He said that's the point. And that's why you've got the Großfamilien giving them the cred, as I said, giving a bit of gangster cred.
Keep going. You can't have it both ways. Boys. This is all just so, like, as someone who spends a lot of time with teenage boys who are probably one of their biggest markets for,
definitely.
all this stuff. You can't want the, like, street cred of the criminal gangs backing you up and then tattle to the police. Also, just as the daughter of two lawyers, contracts are important. Like, being in breach of contract, you've got yourself into it because you wanted a record deal. Suck it up.
I agree. I have no sympathy for Bushido.
Oh, Bushido. He's quite cute, though. I will say that. He's quite my type. A terrible human being, apparently.
He's got a terrible personality.
Yes, that's it.
He scrubs up nicely.
Very dark around the eyes and a terrible personality. I'm sold.
I can go through some of the accusations against him if you're interested.
Against Abu Shaka?
Bushido.
Against Bushido, okay.
Yeah, there's he's had quite a few. One of them was insurance fraud. He's been accused of insurance fraud, assault, obviously. There was a bit of he's also accused of being right wing.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah,
he's accused of because one of his lyrics was something along the lines of "Salutiert steht stramm, ich bin der Leader, wie A." A as in the letter A. And some people interpreted that as meaning Adolf. He denied that and said, I am not right-wing. It's just, I was quoting someone called Azad.
Azad's another guy who was, I think Azad was, I don't know what label he was on. He's one of the earlier gangster rappers who was less famous than Bushido.
Right. He's had a colourful career. He's been accused of a lot of things. I mean, misogyny, homophobia, kind of part of the course.
Misogyny is kind of a given. Yeah.
He also did a practicum in the Bundestag. Did you know that?
Guess which party it was for?
I don't know.
It was the Christian Democrats. Which is like, oh, come on. If he'd done work for the Greens, I'd have been like, I actually now like Bushido. But of course he goes to the CDU. It's like Kollegah doing law. Kollegah's another rapper who has he's this weird kind of, he's really called Felix in real life. And he's basically this white German who is one of these muscle men who does he's like everything I can't bear, like the side of gangster rap I hate. And he does these things called alpha mentoring courses. And it's basically just a rip-off to basically get young kind of sort of vulnerable men to sign up and be a real man if they throw loads of money at Kollegah.
How did you become such a German rap expert? How is this your mastermind?
It's really
topic?
weird. Like, okay, my theory is, I basically think, and this isn't a joke, maybe it is. I think basically I am like a 14-year-old boy trapped in a somewhat older woman's body because of my behaviour suggests that I am basically that's what I am. So that's all I can put it down to. And it's like with Arrested Development, so nothing ever changes. But I always liked hip hop, and I've always I'd say I like the music that sort of reflects the place I'm living. But actually, as we've discussed, German gangster rap doesn't really reflect anything about places like Kreuzberg or Neukölln. It's just all fantasy, a lot of it. But I like a lot of the thing I like is about someone like Haftbefehl is the language. This is the guy from Offenbach, and he has a record label called Aslax, and he's invented something he's referred to as Kanakish, which I'm not going to translate. Like, they call themselves Kanaks, which is not a very nice word, but it's kind of okay to call yourself that if you're...
Sort of like a reclaimed thing.
Exactly. And Kanakish is like this massive mixture of... It's a bit like what people call... the formal name is London Multicultural English, which is like the kind of thing like Dizzy Rascal. A lot of slang.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy listening to someone like Haftbefehl because he's using all these words that I haven't got a clue what they mean. They're from Arabic, they're from Turkish, Bosnian, everything.
Wow. And
I really like that. And it's a real sort of nice... I find it like a nice kind of antidote to the Germanness as it is.
Yes.
And although a lot of it's posturing and it's swagger and it's, Haftbefehl himself has said it's filmic. It's not, he used to deal drugs when he was 15, but he's not like some hardcore gangster. He shot himself in the leg by accident the other day, which shows how gangster he is. But basically, like, I think I like the fact that it's so different from like German Alltag.
Yeah.
And it's basically, we're living in Kreuzberg Neukölln. This is what kids are listening to. The production's great. It's not Kanakish, but do you want some actual words? I can teach you a few words.
Dear Lord, yes.
I thought I have to do this. So, it's all from it's stuff that I've actually had to I basically spend half my time when I listen to this stuff Googling it, like what's he actually saying?
Yeah.
There's a nice one. Do you know what Tishara is? Tishara? Excuse my pronunciation to anyone who...
No.
Okay, so apparently this is Persian for doing business or doing deals. And they talk about Tishara machen. Do you know what the important one? Batzen. Do you know what Batzen are?
No.
Batzen is like wads of cash.
Oh.
But Batzen, I think it mostly refers to lumps of something.
Right.
And possibly some Swiss coin of some sort. What's the other one? Para machen. Make money. Don't know where it comes from. Lila is a nice one. Capital Bra says that a lot. Lila basically means like the colour of 500 euro notes.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and it's like a little language. And I think I was really into grime when I've always liked grime music a lot. And I think I just gravitated to like the next extremely macho, problematic form of music that I can gravitate to. Let's face it. Yeah.
To be honest, yes, I'm going to... when I start looking them up, going to be basically sexually attracted to all of them. So there'll be that to deal with.
Well, if you are, I can recommend. There's a guy called, I think, Dardan. He's a real hottie.
Is he also a dick?
No, actually, he's not.
I won't
he's a
be
babe.
interested.
Bosnian babe. Yeah.
Ooh.
How do you spell? I'm going to Google that.
Oh yeah, look him
Dardan.
up. Let's see.
Unfortunately, he's married. I think he's dating like one of the most beautiful women in German rap. There's not many women in German rap that have reached the kind of levels the guys have.
Maybe he'd like to come on and have a Megacan. We're not getting capital bra, first of all, because he's probably a bit busy. And second of
He
all,
might be.
he can't even drink a full mega. So what use is he to us? I'm not sure about him.
No? Too much of a little pretty boy for you?
No, too pretty.
Ah, see, you're more of a... Okay, I think he's quite cute.
Yeah. This is just us looking at pictures that people that can't see.
Yeah, this makes for great radio.
It's not the best podcast content. Yeah. So what do we think this trial? Yeah, is gonna. How's it gonna go?
I think basically there's going to be a problem because a lot of the rappers who've been this kind of rogues gallery of rappers, a lot of them won't testify.
Okay.
They'll say nothing because that's the classic outcome apparently in these situations.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I think they'll somehow resolve it out of court. I can see that happening, that they end up just having an agreement and going, oh, Bruder, I'm sorry, and we're all mates, and here's a few million for you. But now,
Lila.
Old Bushido's with the Remo clan, who knows? I mean, the gang, Remo family.
Wow. Bushido.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we've exhausted that whole issue.
I feel like I have.
I don't know.
You think there's somewhere... I mean, I don't have any other funny stories to tell about rap. Do you have any other funny stories about German rap?
I mean, there's a lot. The trouble is, where do you start and where do you stop? That's the thing about German rap that's entertaining about it is it's real characters. It's like they're like trump cards. They're like caricatures. Schwester Eva from Alice oder Nix, who's basically now doing a prison sentence for pimping a bunch of women. All of them have interesting reputations. You can the list is endless of kind of misdemeanors, and I don't know how much of it is real. They do get in trouble rather a lot. I feel like more so than like English grime artists or rappers or whatever. It's almost like you have to. It feels like it's it's gang und Gäbe. You've got to do something. Oh, can I tell you about one more artist I like? Or should I? No, don't worry.
Yeah, and then I want you to tell us about your...
So basically, another person I like that I didn't mention, I do like Capital Bra. You've got to be selective with him. But another guy I like called Hannibal. And he's part of the old Aslaks, the Offenbach lot. And I like him because he calls his fans...
Offenbach?
He calls his... Offenbach is gangster. He calls his fans Shatsies, which I really like, darlings.
That's really cute.
And it's just quite nice because there's a lot of humour in it.
Shatsy is a very, very funny word, I think. I can't believe they use it because it's got the word shat in it.
And he used to be an amateur footballer.
He used to be
an amateur football player,
right,
on quite good teams. And then he made a really good album called Haramstufe Rot. Instead of Alarmstufe Rot, it was Haram. And if something is haram, it's forbidden in Arabic. Is that Arabic yet? I think. She says conflating everything. And he's now, how do you pronounce it? Muay Thai? Martial arts. Muay Thai?
Yeah.
Not Mai Tai.
No.
He's a Mai Tai.
They need to put a Mai Tai in a can.
He's a champion of that.
He's basically a trainer in Frankfurt. And I really like his stuff because I think he's basically doesn't get enough props for being a really good musician.
Well,
and his album Haranstufe Rot's very, very good. But yeah.
Okay. That was unbelievably fascinating.
But if anyone wants to find out more about German rap, they can. There are other channels, aren't there, Maisie?
Yeah, I've in the last week, at extreme speed and with huge stress, I've been trying to put together an Instagram page, which is basically will be called Deutsch Rap für Ausländer.
Yeah.
And it's basically meant as an introduction to contemporary German rap. Primarily gangster rap because there's all different forms and I've got to exclude some. So it's the stuff that gets slagged off in the press.
Right.
So that's basically for people who don't generally know much about it, and I'll be introducing, I think, who are all the best artists. So I'll be excluding the ones I don't like. So it's very subjective.
And how will you be in the form of pictures on Instagram?
Well, at the moment, I've been looking at rights, but I've actually been cutting videos, editing videos.
Brilliant.
And yeah. And you can probably, the easiest way to find it is to probably do it via my Instagram account, which is just Maisie Hitch.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So much. I'm very excited for this.
Can I just say thanks for having me on?
You're very, very welcome.
I've got a bit overexcited and talk too much because I'm really overexcited.
That's good. That's what we like. I hope you're enjoying your mega as well.
I really
and remember, I'm almost done with my mega, which makes me harder than a German gangster rapper.
Harder than Cappy.
Yeah, I finished mine ages ago.
What?
Oh.
Oh my god. I was talking too much.
Just suck it down.
I do. I just like really love them.
Love them.
I love them. It's my favourite thing on a Friday.
Is it?
Like having this, just being to slurp down that cylinder of goodness. Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks very much for listening. Go listen to Radio Spätkauf. And
Do listen to Radio Spätkauf. They're not ridiculous.
Oh, I don't know.
They are.
take the precaution of not getting drunk during the show.
That's true.
So, so everyone has their own method of doing a podcast. We've decided this is our favourite one. Right.
Can't talk. Thank you very much, Maisie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.